And we're live. Hi, everyone. It's Christopher Power here. And this is the next of my interview series based around human design. And today I have with me Monique Gallagher, who is a manifestor. And this is going to be a fascinating conversation between myself, who's a generator, a pure generator, and a manifestor. I love working with manifestors. So Monique, introduce yourself, tell us about the work that you do, and we can start.
Okay, Monique Gallagher. I'm actually a 6'2", emotionally defined manifestor. I've been working or learning about human design for about 4 years now, and I run a company at cyberneticmastery.com, and I teach people how to clear the invisible blockages like attitudes, feelings, beliefs that are stopping them from manifesting their objectives. So when someone comes to work with me, they get a double bonus. I teach them a system to achieve their objectives, and then they get to work with me where within my presence I notice that they can move through things just by being on the phone with me.
Wow. Monique, we might drop the bandwidth down a bit too, just I'm noticing there's a bit of lag. It might only be on my end, but
okay,
drop it.
Did it.
It won't do it harm. Okay, great. So yeah, just tell us just a little bit more about the work, because in a sense you're teaching people about manifestation, if I understand you, and you're actually a manifestor. So that must be a very powerful experience.
Yeah, it's a system that I learned about, 11, 12 years ago. And it's a step-by-step method to define what you want to achieve and be able to create harmony between the conscious mind and our unseen part, our unconscious. And when we're congruent and aligned with that and harmonized with natural law on the planet, then we start to notice synchronistic events happening and our luck increases. And people can achieve, small things and big things. I think the thing that keeps me, I'm so passionate about it, is that when people are pursuing their objective, they're finding things that are coming up that have stopped them in other areas of their life. So they can clear this invisible resistance, this blocker, and then all of a sudden they're getting along better with their child. Or all of a sudden, like I've worked with a lot of female entrepreneurs, business owners, and interestingly, they're not in a relationship. But they've been on dating sites or they've been looking for a relationship. So they come to work with me to expand their business. And then within a few months, I hear they're dating and they've got this great connection going. So there's a lot of, I guess, what's the word? I guess crossover with what we're doing in our business and where we're blocked, and we're blocked in our personal life as well. So once we clear that internal blockage, which could come from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, then there's harmony, and the harmony just resonates out into the world. And like any relationship, when a relationship starts, there's a natural attraction and affinity. And you transfer that into business where there's a natural attraction and affinity for the person's perfect ideal clients for them. So they start to notice they're enjoying their work more, and they're not attracting the people who are really stuck or argumentative or don't want to grow or whatever. So there's a lot more peacefulness and success that comes with it as people are pursuing their objectives.
Right. So I'm just listening to your languaging and everything else like that as well. And there are very manifestor sort of words popping in that. But that one thing I'll just comment on, one of the things that really struck me with human design and relationship, because I've done a lot of work on relationships in the past in very innovative and cutting edge ways. A lot of that I'll be releasing in the future. I've written books and various other things on it, but we're putting that together as well for the future. But one of the things that altered my work profoundly when I got involved with human design was realizing that if you enter into a relationship correctly according to your design, then you'll have no regrets, no, whether it's a short-term one or a long-term one or whatever. But if you enter it into any relationship, business, intimate, personal, friendship, incorrectly, in other words, according to your not self or the way your mind thinks it should do it, then you're literally asking for trouble and setting yourself up not to have a relationship that's correct for you. And so I heard that in what you were saying. I'd be very interested in your feedback or your comments on your experience with human design over the last 4 years and how that's impacted your work and your work with your clients and yourself as well.
Well, as I was thinking about our conversation, one of the things that I was remembering is that there's certain type of people that are drawn to work with me. And since I started to learn about human design, I would casually ask a client, "What's your birth date? Where are you born?" And I'd run a human design chart on them because I'd want to know who I'm working with. And sometimes I could intuit some areas where they may be blocked. Not that I'm a human design person, but just I would be looking at it. And what I noticed is projectors and manifesting generators seems to be drawn to work with me. And I thought, projectors. And interestingly, with projectors is that they want the results. They want what these processes can teach them to manifest. They want to achieve their objectives, but they seem to be the most resistant to guidance. And I think that's probably natural. I think projectors are supposed to guide themselves. And it's been a huge growth experience for me because working with a projector, yikes, they could be intense. So I had to learn to really tone myself down, soften my voice, and be very acknowledging to them, very encouraging, and wherever possible, make them right. Because if I were to make them wrong or put correction, it's almost like they would just go to, crumble. And either they would start to fight and argue, their mind would come in and you're wrong, or this isn't working for me. And so it was a very delicate and gentle dance with projectors to make sure that they were recognized and made right every step of the way. But I got to tell you, I'm thinking about 3 or 4 projectors in the past I've worked with, 1 out of 4 actually succeeded. And 3 out of the 4 backed off and didn't complete. And it was interesting because I would move them along to the objective setting. So they'd set their objective, what they wanted, write it down. I'd approve it because I would check through, what I know about how to write an objective so that the unconscious mind agrees and will support it. And I'll feel, there's something wrong. There's incongruence. And I'd give them the feedback. Nope, they want it anyway. Like, okay. And then the ones who would listen, well, then they had success. So the one I'm thinking about, she's quite young. She's like going to be an amazing powerhouse, probably worldwide influence. Mara Hoover is her name. She's young. She's just 30. She was just a gem, real easy to work with, a very young projector. The other ones, I'm not criticizing age, but there's something about them that they were maybe more fixed in their path. And I think projectors are supposed to, they're supposed to know their path and know where they're going and guide themselves. So it's just kind of curious.
Can I just comment on that, Monique?
Yeah.
When people hear about projectors, they think, they're here to guide themselves. Projectors are here for the other person. They're here to guide, especially generators, because generators, we're the ones with the energy on a consistent basis. You as a manifestor, you work in bursts. From when I look at your chart, the emotional center, and from the root center, you have those 2 motors, kicking in. So you've got physical energy and emotional energy, and it comes in bursts. And then you need time out for yourself. But projectors are really here to make sure generators, and this is a generalization, it's not the only thing they do, but it's a pretty broad and accurate one, that they're here to really make sure generators don't use their energy incorrectly or waste it. You know, they're here to guide us to the most efficient use of our energy, which is a huge and an amazing job. But they're not here to guide themselves so much, except they make decisions according to their strategy and inner authority. But you picked up the first step, and that is really good. One, the first thing they long for, and if they don't get it, they often don't even know why they resent it. They look for recognition. They want to be recognized, you know, and they long for it. And if they are recognized, something in them can relax out of their not self. Now, a projector in their not self is going to think they're a generator. Do you understand what I mean by that? A projector, by definition, does not have the sacral center, that 1 second from the bottom, defined, just the same as a manifestor. So the not self of a manifestor or a projector or a reflector is going to immediately think it should be a generator, right? Because it would have that center defined if the white parts were colored. Okay, so all the generators and manifestors of the world are going around thinking, you know, they're not selves, and their minds are saying, I should be a generator, and they're acting it out at twice the volume, hence the problem they have that they never know when enough is enough. You were going to comment there, Monique.
Yeah. I'm remembering one of the early videos that I watched by Ra, and he was, I don't know if it's a video or an audio, but he was commenting on how he loved projectors. He loved to attract projectors to, you know, his human design unfoldment, movement. And one of the reasons, he said, is because they were really good. One of them was to help him with his videos. And I'm curious about that, because it does seem like there's natural partnering, and that a projector could add value to a manifestor, not only generators, because Ra loved the projectors. So I wonder if you have more to say on that.
Yeah. Well, you're right. That's why I sort of qualified it a bit, said they're here for generators in general, because they can tap into that. They can project their energy and read the way we're using our sacral energy. On the other hand, they can just as easily read the way a manifestor is using, well, in Ra's case, his splenic energy. Or no, actually, sorry, it wasn't his spleen. It went through...
he was ego manifestor.
Ego manifestor, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the way he's using his will, right, which is a great thing to, you know, when you're a will-driven person, it's good to have some feedback about whether it's a healthy will or, you know, or unhealthy, you know, whether you're being in your ego or not, in a negative ego, or you've got a healthy, positive ego with a strong underlying will. So that's great. In your case, to be able to read your physical energy and your emotional energy and see whether you're in, you know, guide you on the best use of that. However,
go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
No, I do remember I had one projector who recognized that how I had been presenting myself on the web was not congruent, and that I had been conditioned and brainwashed by a lot of coaches that this is how you market, this is what you do. And I'm deeply grateful for that projector. It took me quite a while to wake up to it, because once you've got a program installed in the unconscious, it just wants to go. And you get so used to doing something. So I literally had to, I shut my business down and went on hiatus for 3 months to decondition myself, and wiped everything out on the web, deleted everything and then reapproached, and it's so much more congruent and aligned with me. So I'm really grateful for that projector's view. But it's hard, you know, as a manifestor. I just wanted to, no, you're wrong. Oh, bad arguments, because
Yes.
you think you're right, you know?
Well, you want to do it the way you want to do it. But
Mm,
as a manifestor, you can also be conditioned into your not self
yeah,
and get all this marketing information out there and work at it like a generator. And I cannot tell you the number of clients I have now that, you know, with all the marketing stuff that's been marketed out there, particularly about internet marketing and everything else, how many of the clients I'm having to, you know, get them to just stop what they're doing and
yeah,
reassess their marketing and align it with their real nature. One of them at the moment I'm sharing some stuff with is another manifestor who's having exactly the same issue that you have. And I'm excited that a manifestor has actually done what you've done and can actually speak up about it, because it's a huge part of my work is deconditioning. You know, with all this internet marketing, there's such a homogenization process going on out there. And yet you see all of the people who are marketing out there did something their own way. And then they put it out there and market it to everybody as though that is the way that will get you to work. It's the way that got them there, maybe, you know, if you can trust what they're doing. And there's some good ones out there for sure, you know, but it's coming to the point where I'm just going, hold on, this canned marketing, you know, where you do our program, it just doesn't work that way, you know, because unless you're marketing yourself as your true self, it's not going to attract, and you're not even going to feel happy with it. And even if you are successful, you won't be either satisfied, at peace, or successful, depending on what you are, or if reflected, delighted, you know. So that's a whole other thing. But let's come back to the projector thing, and it's a big part of my work, and I'll talk to you more about that either in this interview or in the future, because that's a huge thing that we've got to stop this homogenized marketing stuff. You know, people are getting numbed out by it too. And why the hell do you have all these people buying all these programs and not working on them? Because it's not right for them.
it's not right for them, but they want the benefits. You know, we get sold by, oh, increase your list by 10,000 if you buy this Facebook, you know, video insert thing. And we get conditioned to buy these things and then even maybe try to implement them or not implement them. And a lot of marketing is not from a genuine, sincere place. And I think on the planet at this time, especially with Uranus-Pluto square, which our third Uranus-Pluto square was in March, it is saying, this is my interpretation, that the way we've gone on in the past, the manipulative way, the deceptive ways, it's like no more. We need to get more real, more sincere. And I think that people's bullshit detectors are going to increase. And so those ones, I hope, I mean, I'm dreaming that they're going to be able to see these people that, hey, they're not going to be able to help you. Don't spend your money there. Don't waste it. And that people will more and more be making decisions on how it feels in their body rather than what their mind says, yeah, I can make $1 million with this new program.
Yeah.
Because it only leads to frustration and feelings of failure. And then they have this whole history of failure they have to clean up in their business. And it's just, it's quite unfortunate, the whole thing. But to really find good guidance, because we need guidance. I need guidance. I don't know it all. But to find guidance where someone really has my best interests at heart and not just their bottom line. And that's one of
Yeah.
the things when people start working with me, they often say they feel completely safe. And
Yeah.
these aren't people who trust easily. And they're just,
Yeah.
all their guards come down. And that's when true transformation can happen. When someone feels safe, they're not judged, They're not put down. They're not ashamed. And it's just, what do you want? Let's move you there. And they
Okay.
can relax.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I exposed myself quite deliberately to all the internet marketing stuff out there for 5, 6 years now, very deliberately. And I've been living my design for 7 years. So that was a large part of it. And it was one of the best teachers about what my not self and true self are really about my mind making decisions and my inner strategy and inner authority making decisions. And what guided me through that, particularly the last couple of years, have been quite easy. Because if my strategy isn't triggered, I don't have a decision to make. And if my inner authority says no, I don't care what they promise, who they are, whatever, I know it's not right for me. It might not be the right timing, because a lot of things, they're offering you things way before you're ready for them, right? Or out of sync with the way you're developing your business. And the second thing is, if it's not correct for me, I'm going to be frustrated. It's just, and it's just sorting out literally thousands and thousands and thousands of emails and offers, but just listening to my gut and my strategy and my inner authority. Now, at the moment, we're doing this via Webinar Jam, right? Out of the blue, a year or so ago, I got this email about Webinar Jam. And it was like, video, ooh. And it was like, what? And there was it was right at the beginning of Webinar Jam, and it was a incredible offer, an offer that just doesn't exist anymore because it was beta testing it, basically. And I went, I can't afford this. Well, I can, but this is a lot of money. But boom, put it down for life. Not monthly, not yearly. And I knew, and I sat on it for 8 months and then started doing webinars with it. And boom, everything just took off. Now, I never had any regrets. I knew my whole body was going, And it was like, my mind was, I literally, because I've got quite good at watching my mind do its thing, and it was trying to argue me out of it. And I said, that's suspicious for a start. And then my gut was going, because I'm a sacral authority. And, I put the money down, never regretted it, even though I didn't use it for 8 months. And then I've been using it for the last 12 months or 6 months, last 4 to 6 months, all over the place. Now, there's this sense of timing we all have that strategy and inner authority really puts us in touch with. And there's so much with this marketing thing going on, which is driven not so much in a lot of cases, not by making you rich, but making the person who's doing the marketing rich. And secondly, you've really got to assess whether the product they're offering is relevant to you now and that you can actually apply it and put it together. There's a whole bunch of experience you need to have to do this. Business doesn't happen in a flash. Neither does pregnancy or anything else. It happens over time and you grow and develop into it. But here we are with all these frustrated, 70% of the world are generators. 95% of them are frustrated because they're in their not self. A whole chunk of the internet marketers are out there in their not self, teaching homogenized manifestor strategies, which only suit 8% of the population. And most of those manifestors don't want other people telling them what to do, as you pointed out, right? You don't want people telling you how to manifest. It's like, I'm a manifestor, I know how to do it, I just want permission. I just want people to stop shaming me for being that way and let me do my thing.
But you remind me of something. When I was first learning about manifestors, and a friend of mine we were studying it, and I remember him saying that, oh my gosh, manifestors, this is like way bigger than people even realize, and that how few are actually manifestors. How few are able to initiate and manifest and cause regularly. So luckily, I had an amazing father who was a manifesting generator who didn't shame me. And he always encouraged me to do the most wild things, like go to England when I was 16 years old and live there for 3 months and then come back. But I always felt I could go out on a limb. And that, if I needed something, my dad would be there. He's passed now. But I think that support really helped. But I think a lot of manifestors out there are just really small and crushed. And I love working with them because I can tune in through psychic listening skills that I've developed, and I can hear, literally get a sense of what their true self is like and reflect it back to them, recognize them. And so, this little, their true self could be shy and small and insecure. And it's beautiful to watch it blossom and be more bold with me. Because at first they've given all their authority away to me, and it saddens me. So I'm always pulling it out. That doesn't seem like that worked really well for you. And at first they won't say anything. So I love working with manifestors to help them really be manifestors. But there's one other thing that I was thinking
look, can
about.
I just comment on that?
Yeah.
Can I just comment on? I love working with manifestors too, and I have a lot of them as clients, more than 8%. And I have exactly the same experience. And the sense of liberation, I mean, you sounded like you had the perfect father for a manifestor. I mean, seriously, that's exactly the way they should be. And I could tell more, but I've spoken about it on other videos. But yeah, the manifestors have this, even amongst human design people. A lot of people talk about, and I've heard this from manifestors who've had a lot of human design, and they say even amongst human design people, we're sort of shamed. Like we're the old-fashioned ones. We were the rulers in the past, but our time has passed. And talking with them in the last couple of months, I've really had this huge insight as to the role that they have in the future, which is about generators are in the flow of life, like in a river. Projectors are walking along the river, guiding us and making sure we don't drown and we stay on track and we're using our energy efficiently. And manifestors are also walking along the side of the river, and every now and then they go, you know what? I don't like the way this river is going. And they just change the course of the river, right? Now, we all end up in the ocean, but it's a rather dramatic metaphor or image, because manifestors are here to go, no, I don't like the way we're doing this, shift. And at the moment, you're doing that for manifestors, helping them shift out of, cringing and being shamed and letting them blossom. But then the manifestors are going to be striding around the world going, I don't know. I reckon it'd be better if we went this way, and they just shift the whole course of things.
That's why, Christopher, I think it's so important. I think it's so important to lead with this. And this is, whenever I'm working with someone, this is the first thing that we work on, is to make sure they have a sense of what their inner nature is. Because if they are manifesting from their mind, and we can all do it, that they're often going to not be happy with the results. And manifestors are designed for impact. And if we are manifesting from our mind, we are hurting others. There's a huge responsibility with manifestors. And I think that's why a lot of them feel ashamed, because we plug into that collective manifestor consciousness. There was a lot of wrong that was done, a lot. And so it's far wiser for a manifestor not manifest and initiate unless they're connected with their true self, and it's coming from that pure place. And when someone is operating from their true self, truly, that true self decision that's right for them is right for all. Can't not be. But if they're manifesting from what they personally want, without any clue on how it's going to impact the people in their world or in the bigger world, they have no business manifesting it. And so in a way, manifestors should be shut down a little bit until they get that connection. And then they're initiating cleanly, purely. They're making a positive impact on the world. The state of the world, I mean, we're all responsible for it. You know, we all had our roles in it, you know, as a collectiveness, you know, generators and projectors and manifestors. I just know as a manifestor, when I've manifested from my mind, it's not good. There's suffering.
Wow. You've left me speechless, and that's quite an achievement. Seriously, I was just taking that in, like the authority and the truth behind what you were saying. So powerful.
And that's when a manifestor is aligned, there is power behind their words. And it has impact, right? You could feel it. But if a manifestor is talking from their head and it's like, you know? Yeah.
Wow, absolutely. See, I see this when dealing with clients and people I work with. When a projector's trying to be a generator, they're sort of wussy or angry. But, you know, often with women, it's sort of, and then when they suddenly step into there's guidance necessary, the whole tone of their voice, the whole body language, everything, and it's just captivating when they speak. And this, now with you just speaking purely and truthfully as a manifestor, it's just captivating. That's why I said, you know, it takes a lot to not make me shut up, but, you know, just to. But when you speak from that point, I just listen. I cannot not listen because it's having so much impact.
And that's what the manifestors are supposed to. They're supposed to have impact. They're supposed to change the course of things. Yes. But they have to really know, where is that coming from in themselves? And that takes development. That takes personal growth. And most of us are trained now, you know, get stuff fast. I just want it fast. And they're not doing, for the most part, that inner emotional work and that development work to make sure they're congruent with what they're saying, what they're working on. And in fact, the system that I teach, it's entitled How to Get Lots of Money for Anything Fast. That's the title of the ebook. Wonderful title, grabs people, right? But what happens is people think, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to get lots of money for anything fast. No, it's not. You can do it fast, but it's not easy because you have to clear the unconscious resistance that's got in there, because otherwise you would have the money being drawn to you. You would naturally be in the right situation, in the right circumstance. Life would be working. You'd be aligned with natural law. So that's one, you know, the title, I wish the title would change, but hey, I didn't write the ebook. I teach them how to do it though. But the first thing is, you know, you need to know what is natural to you. And, you know, human design is a wonderful way, you know, a snapshot for people to see how they should be using the energy and what their part of their nature is like. You know, human design is not a be all and end all, but it's a good snapshot. And I know you've done a lot more work, Christopher, than just human design. You just found this 7 years ago. You've done other development work, as I have. Yeah, and that reflects, you know. I don't ever want to, yeah.
Yeah, let me just share. That's so true, you know. There's a whole bunch of things I want to say, so I'll try and be brief and to the point. One, Ra used to say that, you know, generators are, their motto is know thyself. They're the ones who really want to know themselves. But manifestors, they just want to have impact. And, you know, they're not really into knowing themselves. And as you were speaking, I'm going, hold on, this doesn't fit the thing. And then maybe I just thought about it and went, well, maybe Ra wasn't really that interested in knowing himself, you know. But on the other hand, he'd done a lot of work in a very eccentric way on himself beforehand. And you're talking about the work that you've done. And yes, 30, 40 years of work went into that before I came across you. Well, 30 plus years of work went into it before I found human design. But and that gives an incredible depth to the work that I do. And I'm beginning to see that it's people who've done that work really deeply and sincerely. I know there's a lot of people who've done that sort of work, who see human design for what it is, don't use it just to make a lot of money, but see it for what it is and bring the depth of that work to human design without making it an either or thing, a competition, and then really start bringing the richness of their experience into their experience of human design. That's when human design, and as far as human design is concerned, it's very much at the beginning of its development. Ra said this himself, very, 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 very young. But when they bring that to human design, and this is one of the things I learned from all my work in both science and reinventing numerology and various other astrological techniques and various things like that, is you have to define exactly what you're talking about. For instance, people would say to me as a client, I'm a number 3. You go to a party and people say, I'm a number 3. Tell me all about myself. And I'd look at them and go, a number 3 what? And they go, I'm a number 3. And I'd say, I don't see a number 3. I see a human being. And they go, what? And I'd say, look, if I said, come to my house, and I said, I live at 38, come and visit me, you couldn't find me even if you were in the same city, let alone somewhere else in the world. But if I said, say, 64 Forest Street, Maruka, Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, you could find me from anywhere in the world. And so what is human design? Human design. Yeah, but what's its address? Making decisions. That's specifically what human design is all about at the core on a practical level. It's how you make decisions. It's not how you think, although when you go deeper into human design over time, you can really map the way your mind thinks. You can map your whole psychology in ways that nothing else I've ever seen can. But fundamentally, human design is about making decisions. And so with all the work that you've done in your life, all the work of your clients, all the work that I've done in my life in metaphysics and spirituality and in areas that Ra wasn't particularly interested in at all. But when we bring all of that and then go, okay, now I want to bring this work that I've done on my inner self or my spiritual work or my visionary work or just my great idea for a great business, I want to bring that into the physical world and not just have it lodged in my imagination or a dream somewhere. If I want to bring that into the physical world, the thing that will do that is not choice, because choice is that, I can choose to create this in my imagination. But the decision to manifest it is going to be the thing that brings it into reality. And so to me, human design came along where people like you and I who've done all this work were ready to actually change the world, to found a new world, a world that's not just a better version of the old world, but new, works on new principles, has new guidelines, has a new way of operating with new types of human beings into it. And human design is that key that where I say the rubber hits the road. And you bring all your experience and you help people go from dreaming of making a lot of money or dreaming of having their life and starting to put together the life they're truly born to live, where they can have all the abundance that they truly need to live the life they're designed to live, not all the abundance they think they need to measure up to Richard Branson or whoever else is their idol. Make sense?
Yeah. And one of the things that I want to say when you were speaking is that Ra not thinking that manifestors need to know themselves, well, that's a crock. All humans have to know how they work. And I think that was Ra excusing bad behavior on his part. And there are certain things that, you know, Ra was presenting that were really not aligned with him. And you could hear it in his voice. Some were not self parts. We all have not self parts, you know?
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I really like the processes that I teach is that, in a sense, it could make, you know, generators manifestors. And I'll explain. The way that it works is once that someone's unconscious knows what they want, they really want, and there's congruence, they anchor it in there and they wait to respond. So they're not out there initiating, they're not manifesting. They've said to their unconscious through congruence, this is what I want, and I'll just wait. Oh, that's the perfect partner for me. Yes. And they get this body congruence and they go, yes, that's my perfect partner. Great. So in a way, yeah, the system teaches, yes, them, everyone to become a manifestor.
No, seriously. I just want to put my hand up. That's exactly my experience as a generator, because this is the thing about that, you know, another thing that they say in human design that has some truth in it, but it's a paradox. They say there is no choice. Well, that's rubbish. There is choice. But choices are linked with decisions, just like thoughts and feelings are linked together. And this paradox I sat with for years until it's just struck me. The obvious answer is, look, I can choose to create in my imagination, in my unconscious, anything that I want. And exactly as you said, I've spent decades learning exactly those techniques at a very deep level, and to lodge those sort of creations in my subconscious, and unconscious with the help of my higher self, blah, 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 you know. But how do I know that that choice is a good decision for me at this point in my human life? Because I can win the lottery and have millions of dollars, but how do I know that's a good decision for me? And that's when it all clicked, is I can create all these things and choose any reality I truly want to create. But I've got this beautiful thing called human design that will teach me how to do that, or how to allow that to manifest in the correct timing, in the way that's truly right for me. In fact, human design gives me the means of trusting my unconscious's timing and the help that I receive from other beings. And you said it, you summarized it so beautifully. You can create this intention. You can create this thing you want to manifest, hold it there and let it go, and then give it to life. And life flows along, and it might never manifest in your life. But just the fact that you created it gives you energy, whether it manifests or not. It gives depth to your unconscious. It gives energy to you. And then certain things come along and they turn up, and you go, in response as a generator. And I know that I manifested that according to my generator design, because
That's
I allowed
right.
it. Does that
Yeah,
make
and
sense?
it's not like, I think that's a misnomer. If I were to change, I would change the name, from manifestors, I'd change it to initiators, because all of us manifest. Projectors manifest, reflectors manifest, generators manifest. And I think if it had a different name, perhaps there wouldn't be the jealousy sometimes that you can hear when you're a manifestor, I'm not. What's wrong with me? We all manifest. It's just in different ways.
Yes, according to our design. In fact, my not self, if you switch the colors in the chart, if you made all the white stuff in my chart colored, and all the colored parts in my chart white, I would be an emotionally defined manifestor. No doubt about it. It's blatant. Not all charts are that obvious, because they have various patterns in them, but mine is blatant. And my friend Ellie Shanti has a similar thing, but she's an ego-based manifester. And both of us have gone out there to make it happen because we got conditioned by our not self to act that out. But what I've experienced is, as I've surrendered to and accepted myself as a pure generator, which is my design, then I'm able to use that whiteness in my not self not to attract conditioning that I then act out, but it becomes my way of receiving the things I've created. It enables me to manifest via receiving, not through doing. And how I would define a manifestor is someone who's designed to do manifesting. Whereas someone like myself, I'm a generator who's designed to manifest things by allowing life to bring it to them, via receiving.
Yeah, receiving, exactly.
And even then, if life brings me something that I created, I still get to go, no, it's not right for my energy now.
That's right.
I still get the final say. I mean, life treats me with that much respect.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I was thinking about this idea. There's a lot of generators out there who are frustrated. Their kind of life is going by and they're not saying yes to things because they don't feel right, or maybe they're in their not self and they don't know what's right for them. And so in a sense, they kind of are waiting for this perfect opportunity to come knocking on their door, you know? And I don't think life works like that. And so I had this idea, wouldn't it be great if, you know, these generators who want to be part of life and they want to be part of something that's meaningful, that there could be, you know, people with projects out there, like manifestors with projects, and the generators volunteer and say, hey, I'd like to help with that. That's great. And they could be part of that unfoldment in that manifestation. And I think it would be natural and harmonious, and there would be a win-win for all involved. If there was some kind of meetup for, okay, this manifestor has this project, you know, generators want to help manifest it, you know, because they grow in the process, and then it gets out there in a bigger way, whatever, you know, that could be for awakening of human consciousness.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm coaching a manifestor who's a client of mine to do. But it doesn't have to. See, the one thing that living my design has taught me is that life doesn't work the way I think it works. Really, just like that. Life doesn't work the way you think it works.
Yep.
And, you know, there's all, whatever, even when you find out I'm a generator, I'm a projector, I'm a reflector, you know, I'm a manifestor, the first couple of years is all about, and I think now that I understand that, this is how it should work. And it doesn't. What you learn is that your life works in ways that are fascinating, exciting, mysterious, unpredictable, but there's a method in the madness, as my mother would say. You know, there's just like this, well, in human design they call it moving along your fractal, which is a bit of scientific sort of jargon and stuff like that, but it's moving along the course of life that you're designed to move along, rather than going where you think you belong. And you end up where you truly belong when you do that. But it doesn't go the way you think. And so when you come across human design, the first thing to get is, well, okay, what is your type? What is your strategy? Da, 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 da. How do you make decisions? But the experiment is there because it's not going to work the way you think it will. It just won't. And you can basically take that as a given. It's a journey of discovery where you're going to discover the way you operate, and you're going to discover the life you're truly born to live. And manifestors are here to go, I'm doing this. And if they follow their strategy of informing people, guess what? People can either get out of the road if they don't like it, but a lot of the generators are going to go, that's a great idea. Can I help? Now, again, if a generator is trying to act like a manifestor, they're going to be competing against the manifestor. But if a generator knows they're a generator, they don't look, it doesn't mean that, okay, this is the way I think it works now. Manifestors start things and generators help them, because that'll just take us back to the old world where manifestors ruled the world, basically. No, it's like manifestors are doing this. Wow. And I'm open in response to discovering, amongst all the things that manifestors are doing and all the other things that are going on in the world, that life is manifesting for me in response to my inner programming, my inner creation. Of all of that, what's most important is whatever I get involved with, I enter it correctly according to my design. Now, does that negate all the 30 years of work that I've done? No. It just means I've got a guide, a GPS in my car that will take me to where I really want to go, that when my unconscious and subconscious work with the things that I've created, where I receive the input from my higher guidance, higher self, the divine, whatever you relate to as your higher guidance, when they all put that together, combined with my creation, there's a greater creation, and I get to travel this journey to find out what I've truly created beyond even what I dreamed of. And the way to get there is on a daily basis. I don't have to stress about it, meditate about it. I can just look at life, and if you're a manifestor, go, oh, I want to do this. And then maybe sit with it for a few days to make sure you want to. Or if you're a generator, go, oh, this just came up. Or what if you're a projector, coming back to what we were saying about projectors right at the beginning, I'm recognized and I'm invited and my inner authority says yes. See, these are the steps that you need to go through with the projectors. Recognize them, then invite them, then encourage them to listen to their own inner authority. And if then they get on board with you, listen to what they have to say. And they'll feel like, oh, I'm recognized and I'm invited. And my inner authority has said yes. And for a lot of them, even going through those 3 steps is going to be like life-changing. I was recognized. Oh my God, is that okay? Oh, I feel good about it though. Oh, I was invited. That's good. But is that okay? Can I just wait until I'm invited? Will anyone ever invite me? All those issues. And then following your inner authority. But my mind says this, but no, follow my inner authority. And then you get to see the projector's full potential come out as they start to guide you. And then they feel successful. That's the big payback the projectors get. Now I feel successful. That's what guides them. What guides them is, oh, I feel really successful in my life. I want more of that. And they follow that. But until they're recognized, there's a bunch of healing around that, which you've been working on. Then they're invited. There's a bunch of healing around that. Then they listen to their inner authority. There's a bunch of healing about, with all the potential projectors have in this world to really guide manifestors and generators. They're the ones that, in a sense, need the most help. That's why they need to study human design really in depth. And that's why your work with them is so powerful. The fact that 1 out of 4 of them responded in the current world situation, that's a really good strike rate. You're hitting 250 if I understand baseball correctly, and with a little bit more tweaking, you'll be hitting 300, 400. I mean, in baseball terms, that's really top class. But I can see you hitting 500, 600, 1,000 even potentially. Once, you know how to tweak it with projectors, and then a manifestor gets amongst the mix and starts changing the whole way we relate to projectors, that's going to unleash incredible change on the world. Because then the projectors will be able to guide the generators will start using their energy, blah, 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 blah. You can see where I'm going with this. Does that resonate with you, Monique?
Yeah, it's something that when you speak about projectors, just like not everybody is a manifestor, I've met very, very few true projectors. And what I mean by that is that projectors need to be very wise. They have to have been reading, researching. They are the wise ones of the, I think, on the planet. Because to truly guide, they have had to have a lot of experience and a lot of learning. And a lot of projectors have not done that job because they've been trained in other ways. So to meet a true projector is profound, because you can actually, there's a depth and a magnetic resonance when you're dealing with a projector who's done their homework and they can guide someone. So not everybody, again, not everybody's a projector. You know, they may have that label, but they've not done the work yet. You know, not everybody's a manifestor because they got conditioned, or they've not, you know, figured out, you know, themselves enough to be able to wisely and safely manifest. So that's one of the things. It's almost like a misnomer, because really the definition for true projector, true manifestor, generator is a little easier, right? Because they don't have to have this big responsibility to guide others, you know? So generators,
No, we've only got the responsibility to build the world.
That's true. But not from your own, like you don't have to be responsible for, I don't know, the initiation of it, right? Does the buck fall somewhere else?
Well, the buck for us is to wait and respond to what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And our job is to wait. That's where if we don't wait, we're in our minds, you know, caught up in our stuff, responding to what we think is happening. That's when we create massive frustration in the world, because we're working in ways that are counterproductive. That's where, if you've got a business, you've got a bunch of people working in that business who are slacking off or working in a way that's self-destructive to the business. That's what generators are like. You know, they're just lazy employees, if you want to use just an everyday example, or people who are just going through the day for 8 hours and taking the money and doing the least work possible. You know, but when a generator is doing the work they're truly designed to do, when they love to do it, oh my God, the only thing that stops us is getting tired and needing to go to sleep. Seriously, we love it. You should see me when I've got no clients or there's no work to do, and you know, it's like after a few days I get, because I love it. It's giving of myself. You know, it's putting the work. Look, if a manifestor starts things off, all life starts things off, and it needs to be built and developed, and I can help. You know, like the great work in this world. Oh my God, let me at it 7 days a week. You know, it's not. A
friend of mine is manifesting generator, and he is so natural. He works so hard and is so efficient, so productive. He gets amazing things done. And he's become like a hub of the wheel for all these people who rely on him. And he's a 5-1 heretical investigator. He's just fascinating. But sometimes he doesn't sleep at all. I'll speak to him and he'll be in the best, most pleasant mood. And he'll say, I'm a little bit tired. I didn't sleep last night. And literally he'll go for days. I don't know how he does it. But this manifesting generator is just, he's a whiz. Amazing. So when they're aligned, they can produce incredible amounts.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. Half the people out there go, oh, I wish I could work that hard and not sleep. Look, maybe that works for him. I mean, his life will show him one way or the other, right? Whether that's working for him. I know for me, I used to go until I got exhausted. I thought I had to get exhausted and then go to sleep. And then just over time and experience, I realized if I'm sitting here at 9 o'clock at night or 9:30 rather than 11 o'clock or 12, and I feel tired, I go to bed. Because sometimes there's this second wind thing, and that's my mind jumping in.
So that's a good point. It's, again, one of those rules. You know, each person has to feel what's right for themselves. So I wanted to speak about like manifestors and this impulse and this initiation. Me, as a manifestor in a business that's not my own business, I'll get all these wonderful creative ideas, and I'll start, and I'll think they're really good, and I'll initiate, right? And the question I've got is how to ensure that what I'm initiating will be productive and successful, because I can initiate all day long. Let me tell you, I have this idea, that idea, start this, start that, and working on my own. And I've got a small team around me, but mostly it's me, you know, that there's this feeling of all these little projects initiated, but they're not fully completed. And that bugs me. And what is the right way with the manifestors, how to proceed in business on their own?
Well, what do you, right, just for a start, what do you think? Drawing upon your own experience and wisdom.
Well, I have my dream world, and my dream world is I initiate, and like there's a lot of people that will get it done. And they'll come back to me and say, what do you think? And I'll refine it, and then they finish it. That's my dream world. That's not the world I'm living in right now. So that's what I think.
But if everybody manifested all their dreams, it'd be chaotic. See, there's several things I'm going to talk about. One, when you look outside of just human design on one level, you know, our mind can dream, vision, imagine unbelievably. But we assume, because of the way we're brought up and taught, that if we have a dream, we have to manifest it. But, you know, Einstein didn't manifest all the ideas he ever had. I'm sure Richard Branson hasn't brought to life all the ideas, and some of them don't seem to work, and some of them aren't brilliant ideas in imagination, but if you brought them into the world, they'd be chaotic. You know, certain things, we don't realize that the life in our imagination, the life of the imagination itself, is a whole vast landscape and realm that's as real, if not more real, than this physical world. That's one thing for a start. So just because we imagine something or dream something doesn't mean we have to manifest it. Like, look at all the movies out there and all the books out there that people enjoy, but you don't want those apocalyptic visions turning up in your life. But you might enjoy watching it on a movie or reading about it in a book, or, you know, all the romance novels that people read. You don't want that particular character turning up in your life with his sword and his big, hold on, that's 300 years before now anyway. I mean, I'm just using very simple things, that we have a rich life of imagination and dreaming and visioning, but not everything has to manifest. You know, that's, oh, I've got to, it doesn't have to. There is so much energy we receive from having a rich and fully developed imagination. We receive energy. It gives us energy in the physical world. It doesn't have to turn up here. Otherwise, we'd be living 16 different lives all at the same time. You know, so one, it's fine to have a rich imagination, but which ones really need to manifest, would be healthy for you, would be great for you to manifest in this lifetime? First, get clear about that. And here's where the second thing I wanted to share comes in. The mind used to be fundamentally a tool for survival for thousands, tens of thousands of years. And that was appropriate to those human beings. But now it's evolved into being a tool for observation and self-reflection. So the mind can be used to observe and reflect on the vast realm of your imagination, and it can be used to observe and reflect on the vast realm of your physical experience, being in a physical human body. It's fantastic for that. And it can make links between the two, which is called using your imagination, having a rich imagination, you know, using your imagination to manifest things. It can make links. But really, your mind is here now to observe and reflect what an incredible gift this human life is to you. And what an incredible opportunity this is for you to give of yourself to this creation that you're a part of, that you're not separate from, you're a part of. You're involved physically. You're a part of the creation, and you can give of yourself. You can give of who you are as a human being, and you can give of who you are in the realms of imagination and in the realms beyond imagination as a spiritual being, a divine being, whatever it is that you know or imagine that you are. So much of yourself you can bring into this and create in this creation a beautiful, truly magical reflection of who you are. That's what we've got the opportunity to do, which is called bringing heaven to earth. So that's what you can do with this mind. Now, in the midst of all that, I've forgot what you actually asked me. It got so expanded, I went, so what were you saying again?
That as a self-employed person, a solo entrepreneur, there's all sorts of wonderful programs I could create to help people manifest, help people attract their ideal partner, blah, 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 blah. And so there's so many different projects and programs. It's how to discern which ones that are really the right impulse to follow, that will be productive, will be successful. Because, you know, I could create
I'm back
all day
on
long.
track. I've
back
got
on track. Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, is it okay with you if I share your chart on the screen?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to share screen and share that, and I will just move this up so we don't see your information. So this is your chart, Monique, and for those watching. So you ask, how do you distinguish between all these dreams and, you know, not only what to manifest, but how? Because that's basically your question. And the answer to that is follow. Your mind can have a shot at doing that, but experience will show you, and it's showing many people, that's not the answer any longer. The mind is, apart from the fact that the mind is a two-edged sword, and it will, you know, create as much pain as it creates progress. It's now the mind needs to retire and get back to what it's really good at, which is observing and measuring. What you can do is follow your strategy and inner authority. So you've got these business ideas and all these things that your mind is coming up with. Now have a look. Firstly, you've got this open head center, which means a lot of the ideas that are coming into your head, you're picking up from other people. They're not necessarily yours. So the first thing is to know, oh, okay, all the thoughts that I have that go through my head aren't necessarily mine. Doesn't mean you can't pick up on them. It just means you don't have to take them personally as though you have to manifest them all. Does that make sense?
Well, when you're self-employed, it could be that an idea that comes in from others could be a program that would help support a good amount of generators.
Exactly. And
so having an open head could be useful. It's a matter of assessing successibility and you know, the amount of time it will take. That's really the question.
Yep. Well, see, you're picking up on, see, the not self comes along because people pick up all these ideas and mistakenly think they're their ideas and they have to figure them all out. And then they get lost in that and they ignore their true self. Once you're clear on that all these ideas coming in aren't necessarily mine, and I don't have to take them out and work them all out. There may be, then you've got a filtering system to pick up on all the ideas that are floating around out there, and you can cherry pick them. But even how do you decide which ones to cherry pick? According to your strategy and inner authority. So when you've got all these ideas, you've got an amazing ability to organize. That's that 1762 here. You've got this amazing ability to try out all sorts of experiences, and you've got this really dynamic emotional nature here. So here's how you answer your question. How do I sort out? You let all these ideas come in and all these energies come in. Don't take them personally, but look at, what do I want to do? Aware of all this stuff going on. And if something comes along that you see, and it doesn't have to engage you, you just see it walking past, or it drops into your head, or even you come up with that idea and you go, oh, I want to do that. That's enough. You're a manifestor. I want to do it. Why? I don't know, because I want to do it. Okay, now, the moment you get an impulse to do something, you do not have to ask anybody else permission. You're a manifestor, you get an impulse. But you do need to distinguish, is this correct for you? You have to take yourself into account. You don't have to ask anyone else for permission, but you want to touch base and make sure that this is the right thing for you to do. Because you may have just picked up an idea that goes past and it tickled your fancy, but you want to know that you really want to do it, not just the idea got you excited. And because your inner authority is emotional, this center down here, you get the impulse and then you sit with it for a few days, follow your emotional ups and downs as you go through. And from each of those emotional ups and downs, you have a unique pattern of going through an emotional cycle, a very unique pattern to you. And if you spend some time watching it, you'll notice it repeats itself on a regular basis. Now, when you go through that pattern, you get to look at the opportunity to do something that you think you want to do from this point of view, from when you're up and high and positive and excited, and then when you're a little more melancholic and not so bit down, you're doing your inner work about it. And then you, in the middle, you look at it. It's called due diligence in business. You look at it from all these different points of view. Now, you don't think your way through doing that. That just happens over time if you give yourself a few days, naturally. And then there's this other thing that I talk about that they don't seem to talk about much in human design, where there's this deep emotional awareness, deep emotional awareness below the surface, where your emotions go up and down. We have someone outside banging away on something, but just allow for that. So you have, think of your emotions as an ocean. You have this up and down going on the surface. And you're looking at it, looking at the decision, this impulse that you have as a manifestor from these different points of view, doing your due diligence. But also at the depth of the ocean is this, sometimes I jokingly call it the Kraken, or, some deep sea monster, and that this emotional awareness, which isn't a monster, it is this fantastically deep level of awareness connected to your unconscious and your subconscious and your higher guidance and everything. And it just gradually emerges from the depths of the ocean, gradually emerges. And at a certain point, your emotional ups and downs and the insight and the wisdom you get from that coalesces with the breaching, the emergence of this emotional awareness. And what comes out of that is emotional clarity. Now, as a manifester, that doesn't look, it doesn't matter what you are. If you've got emotional inner authority, that clarity comes. It doesn't last forever because your emotions keep going on. The cycle keeps going on. But when you reach that point of emotional clarity, grab that, because that is your decision. So for you as a manifestor, what happens is this: oh, I want to do this. Let me just sit on it for a few days. I don't have to tell anybody. Da, 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 da. Or you might inform people so that they're prepared if you decide to go ahead with it. And you sit with it, and then you get clear over a period of time. Yes, I want to do this. This is me, and I do want to do this. Then you bloody well go and inform everybody. I'm going to do this, and you do it. That's it. You don't ask them their permission. You inform them so they can either get out of the way or they can get on board and help you out, whatever.
So
Now,
one thing you said, Christopher, that I liked is that there's two levels of emotions. I hadn't thought about it before. You know, there's the deep level, and to kind of wait over time, because I'm feeling, you know, intuitively, I have an instant reaction. Yeah, the 3536 says, yeah, I want to have an experience. I'll initiate. I'll do this. But there's this like long-standing, deep emotional, what I'm like and where I'm going. And I need to wait for that to settle, not that, oh, this is neat, you know, like the bright, shiny object.
yeah,
So that was helpful.
yeah,
So I just
because
wanted to let you know that I'll need to wrap up in about 2 minutes or so.
no problem, because I was thinking maybe we should wrap it up now, so we're right on track. See, the thing is, no one really talks about this in human design, or not this way anyway. It's just it's a realization I came to myself working with a lot of emotionally defined people. And there is those two things with this emergence of emotional awareness that's now happening on an evolutionary scale, and the fact that emotionally defined people, you know, more than anyone, really needs to be aware of this, that you're not waiting for a few days just because that's what you have to do. You're waiting because that's the most powerful move to make. Now, as a manifester who is also emotionally defined, oh my God, doing your own thing in a very cool and relaxed way where you take your time, such a powerful move. And when you come from that point in making your decisions, and I've been so impressed. You know, I want to talk more with you in the future about this, Monique, because you have so much to share. And even I felt a little guilty just jumping in and, oh, you know, but I got inspired by you. But there's so much perspective I've learned from you today, and hopefully others as well. And, you know, I want to give you more of a platform to share more of this, because, you know, your perspective and your way you're looking at it with a certain irreverence is fantastic. I mean, I'm sure Ra would approve of it fully, you know, even if you did say some of what he says is a bit of a crock. Look, the way to honor a great teacher is to honor their pros and cons, you know, their good things and, you know, their weaknesses and their humanity. And you've done that. And there's so much more that human design has to explore and develop and bring into it, and so much more that we as human beings who have been working on ourselves have to bring to the world to really help the people who are now ready to enjoy their life. Let's make it really simple.
And make a more peaceful, harmonious, loving planet for all involved.
Oh man, if anyone's going to really guide us into peace, it's going to be the manifestors, by being living examples of it.
Oh, good one. I think that's a great one to close on.
Yeah. So let's just wrap it up there. And I want to thank you so much for making the time available and for sharing your amazing insight. I've been really inspired by it, Monique. And hopefully we'll talk again in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christopher. It was fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.